comments. I've got only 10-15 minutes. So within that 10-15 minutes, I'll just briefly say a bit about the Tamil solidarity and also kind of what we think can be done. I mean, it wouldn't be exaggerating to say that this is the historically important meeting. It's a very important time in Sri Lanka and also in Britain at this moment in time. What we are, all gathered here, like Sarah mentioned in the introduction, is that there are so many things happening. Tubes is not running, and Diwali, and all these people, all of us here are quite determined to see the end to the oppression in Sri Lanka against the Tamil people. So with that determination, we have to also ask, how we going to, the important questions that is, I'm sure, in everybody's mind here, is that how are we going to achieve this? How are we going to see an end to an oppression against the Tamil-speaking people in Sri Lanka? To do that, actually, we have to ask honestly that, what we are fighting against, and we have to think in terms of how we can organize fight back. Sri Lankan government is not alone in their fight against the Tamil-speaking people. Not a single government around the world, and previous speakers pointed out, has condemned the war in Sri Lanka. They have shown just concerned and released words and things like that. Nothing. Nobody had done anything whatsoever. And it's no difference between any other international organizations such as UN and other bodies. Everybody, including Sri Lankan government, talks about human rights. In fact, yes, Rajapaksa government, portray themselves as the saviors of Tamil people. So this is the propaganda they say to the singular workers and the poor people, saying that we are saving the Tamils. We're not doing anything. So they don't understand what actually happening. After killing, brutally killing, thousands of people. So does the British government. I think that is one of the important points I would make here. Like Des Brown, for example, special envoy to Sri Lanka, who saw the hard talk interview, Des Brown interview when he was appointed. If anybody here, so they would know exactly what they stand for. And he said, in the talk, the journalist put a question to him straight away. No, do you actually against the war? He said, no, we are not against. No, we're not saying anything like that. We want them to finish the job, but we do it in a proper way. Accepting humanitarian laws and this and that. That is exactly what the British government, all the officials, stands for. We have to be very clear about that. That is exactly what they repeatedly say. Every time they release a statement, you would when they would say something like, we congratulate the Sri Lankan government, and then they would say something about camps conditions are improving, and then they would say. Something like, oh yeah, of course, the humanitarian crisis, we are concerned about that, etc., etc., etc. So surely we can understand these games and wordplays, so-called diplomacy. When Gotabaya Rajapaksa himself asked David Miliband in the past that, how can you lecture us about human rights while you are killing thousands of people in Iraq? He was right about British government. Of course, they were killing. He also claimed that the Rajapaksa government succeeded in what Bush and Blair couldn't succeed in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're boasting about it. The Sri Lankan army officials are hired in some other countries to do the same thing. The Sri Lankan example, like for example, sort of the problem in Swat Valley in Pakistan and other places in South Asia. So that is they're boasting about. They have achieved something. In other words, he was saying to the British government that we're all killers. Why? What's the problem with us? That he is right. They're all killers. They're killing everywhere. That is what. In fact, if you look at it carefully, it is the war on terror by the American after the 9/11 is exactly copied by Rajapaksa and the defense ministry, and all the words and rhetoric. You can just see that is exactly what they're doing. It is this one the Sri Lankan government is supporting the UN, and Ramesh pointed out the UN passed the resolution clearing Sri Lanka of human rights violation just a week after the Sri Lankan government brutally killed 20,000 plus people. That is the situation. Just think about it. Sri Lankan government goes and kills 20,000 people. Just a week later, UN passes a resolution clearing Sri Lanka hasn't committed any crimes. So this is the reality. This is the reality that we are faced with. Now this is clearly we can, from this we can actually understand who is our enemies were. We call them capitalist governments because and organizations because they share the same profit motive, and they will do anything to make more profit. They're all improving trade relationship with Sri Lanka. That is the main aim. It's no secret about that. They don't keep them secret either. If people who follow the news and all the the things, they can easily understand that. And it is the Western weapons that used to kill the Tamil-speaking people in Sri Lanka. None of those Sri Lankan weapons are made in Sri Lanka. That's it. It's all come from the Western world. Where it's how it's ended up in Sri Lanka. I mean, we have to understand what are the weapons actually killing these people. That is what we are fighting against. And therefore, it's not just against the Sri Lankan government we are fighting. We are fighting against the Western capitalists, all the governments, and all these organizations, the right-wing organizations. That is what we are fighting against. The death of Tamil-speaking people, far away in the north, somewhere in the corner north and east of Sri Lanka, it doesn't matter to these people. There is on the Socialist paper this week, there is a small article where there is a picture there as well. You can see the students, the placard says genocide, Rwanda, Bosnia, Darfur, now Sri Lanka. I mean, there is, that is the situation. Everywhere there is a killing happening. Nobody is going to sort it out. The death of a Tamil person or a death of a Rwandan person, it doesn't matter to them as long as they achieve their economical means. That is the reality. Mass killing is happening everywhere. I mean, none of the Western government done anything so far to stop it. This human rights rhetoric is not enough. As I said, they're all engaged in brutal war in Iran and Afghanistan, killing thousands of people. There's going to be another demo on 24th against the killing in Afghanistan. We have to see what we are fighting with. We have to fight this profit system to stop the killing. To do that, we have to fight them all. This is the big governments and the international bodies that we are talking about. The Tamil people as a small force. How are we going to fight? If we fight as a small force, of course, we're going to be defeated time and time again. We have to build the forces. How can we build? There are a lot of people fighting against these things. We have to unite with those forces to make it a big force. And that is much more powerful than all these Western governments put together. And they can be easily defeated. And that is possible. That has happened in the history.